Good day, everyone. So we're going to look into this area of Pakistan um, and a civilization called the Harappan civilization. But the screenshots I'm about to show you may not belong to the Harappan civilization, which is supposedly the oldest known civilization. The screenshots and the uh, artifacts I have found, they seem to look quite similar to the ruins and um, a civilization that we see mostly in Saudi Arabia. So let's get this started. This is the coordinates that I'm talking about. And these are the artifacts that we are going to discuss today. So as you can see over here, you have a mountain range, and then you have this structure. This civilization that I'm talking about usually works with a lot of damming, but I've never quite seen dams like this. Like the water is flowing off of the hill, but being pooled here in a square or rectangular structure. And then you see little dams over here as well. But moving along, you will see remnants like these. They look like quite solid stone structures that have collapsed. And some of them, as we continue, you will notice that they look like they've been burnt. How, I don't know, but the structures look like they have experienced extreme heat. And over here you will see like this unusual looking dam. Like I've never quite seen dams like this. Like you can tell from this white residue that there was water pooled here at one point. But it's not like a flow of water, it's just water over here. But these structures are very odd, and they're found in Balochistan, Pakistan. Um, and they are very unusual. They look quite similar to the civilizations you see in Saudi Arabia, stretching all the way down to Africa. So over here you can see again like there's a dam structure that's been created. It's quite straight, like just to get this kind of formation requires, I would say, architectural knowledge. But the dam has broken, like you can see that it's not active right now. However this was made, the water that came, didn't contain the dam didn't quite work. But moving along, then you have these structures. They look more like semi-pools than dams, but maybe that was their way of, I don't know, conserving water or whatever. Moving along, then the structures get very complicated. Like over here, you cannot see because it's not really that clear, but there are a lot of pools, like these little, but they look really odd. They look like more like farmland, but you will see that they're just walls that have collapsed. So kind of like a dam structure that has worn off with time. Again, one of the most peculiar features you will find with these odd-looking dams are these little stone circles with cairns inside. I call them the nipples because they're found all over Baluchistan. But most people would say that these are, burial grounds, but they're mostly found with these structures and some other anomalies like this little structure right here. It's like a square fort. What they are, I don't quite know. People living there would be able to describe them way better. Then you also have anomalies like this. This makes no sense, like it's very clean but a rectangular shape. Could be a grave, but they're rather large to be a grave, like they're like at least 20 feet across. So not sure, but one of the anomalies that we'll be discussing here. Again, you will see the damming system here. What I find really interesting is that whoever did this, that takes a lot of I don't know, a lot of manpower or machinery, because you see the piling of the stones. It's almost like a pregnant shape right here, like something has been poured from above. So if humans are doing that, it'll take a lot of humans and a long period of time to create these dams. And they almost look organic, as if like the earth built it themselves. Um, And then you have odd structures like these, walls that fall off of the cliff, but then again, as we see in Saudi Arabia, you see the flow of water. And these walls, if they say these are compounds, Why would you make compounds on the edge of a hill? Another oddity, but they need to be observed up close because you can see that there's quite a strong fortification which seems to have collapsed over time. But it also looks very organic, like I can't explain it. It doesn't look like it was made and by humans. It looks almost as if it was grown. Again, this odd-looking structure, supposedly a dam, which is now, not functional anymore. But why would you make a dam like this and then have this little L shape going on? Makes no sense, but then again, a lot of the oddities that I found, they made no sense. Moving along, you have these, they kind of look like the gates that you find in Saudi Arabia, but they're not quite a gate structure. I again think there's like a dam kind of structure. And then you have these formations, I don't know, these are modern, or they existed from the same time that these were made. But again, the if you see the fortification or the stone that's been used, it looks almost like you've taken a soldering iron to it, like there's a burn kind of effect to it, like over here. So what kind of structures are they and what function they serve? It's very weird, and I cannot explain it. Again, over here you see like ruins that look like they've been melted, like something has burned them up from above. There you can see the ruins over here. Some of them still hold structure, like these walls over here, but these look like something has been poured over them. And then again, you have the procession of the nipples in this way. I'm sorry if I'm rambling because I can't quite make sense of these, but they're very intriguing. Again, moving along, then you have like this looking dam. Again, the structure looks almost organic, but I'm sure a lot of effort went into making it because I can't tell because these are Google Earth screenshots. I can't tell if these were walls that have fallen over, but the structures look very sharp. At one point, they must have been quite well defined, as you will see as we move along. Again, you have like this odd looking structure right here and the nipples. There's also some lines over here, some parallel lines over here. They're not that clear, so I can't quite say if they are from the same era. But yeah, oddities, you see like this procession of rocks and like the circle dotted rocks, kind of like the ones you see in Saudi Arabia. Then you have this massive wall. Like if you do want to call these dams, then what purpose would a wall of this fortification serve on top of a hill? And you see like structures like ruined structures over here that at one point were very well fortified, but they seem to have collapsed over time. But again, the function is not that clear. Ruins with very fortified and again burnt looking rocks. They would require a closer observation. And as we were saying, the nipples could be graves, but then what purpose would just one grave serve in the middle of this pile of ruins? But there's one right there. Again, there's the similar structure, but it also has other odd looking structures right here, which you can barely make out. But you can tell that there was quite a lot of, farming or just a city, ruins. Moving along, procession of, the stone circles with the cairns inside and this odd looking structure. Like, I don't know, you see this wall is kind of broad, these are kind of thin, this is broad, but I don't know how this would serve as a structure for humans, or maybe it was to, serve another purpose. Moving along, there are ruins over here that are so badly, I don't even know if it's weather, are they worn out by weather, or they're just destroyed, because they kind of give an impression that something burnt them. It looks like you can see the discoloration, not the discoloration, but the dark color of the rocks compared to the surroundings. And I don't know who or what did that and how old these are. Over here you see like there's a flow of water. So there's a dam that's been created, like it's almost triangular, but I'm sure it was kind of rounded when it was functional. The walls have, washed away, but you can see remnants of it that somebody made like a structure to pool water here. And then living quarters, I guess, I don't know. Same circles and close-up of ruins. Um, more ruins that you can tell that grave robbers have come, because you can always tell by the lighter areas that somebody knows that there's something going on here, and they've dug. They dug holes to find out what's underneath. So somebody knows of this. You see only one track, but there are a lot of holes. Somebody already knows that there's something going on here. More structures with light areas. So these also have been pillaged. But you see this odd-looking dam. So I don't know if it's actually a dam, because what purpose would it serve to pool water here? But I don't know. Moving along. This is very interesting because you see a lot of grave robbery. I wouldn't call it grave robbery, but a robbery going on. Like looters have come and dug holes in here, but they must have been a massive structure here, because you see the little remnants. Some structural remnants here, but the rest of it is just kind of melted away. I apologize if I'm not making sense. I'm just documenting this. These kind of look like a gate that you see in Saudi Arabia. There's like one end here, and then these little lines running across. But I don't know if they connect. There's again a flow of water here, and a little wall right here. Very odd structure, but I'm sure it served a good purpose when it was functional. Same ruins over here. Now, one of the anomalies that I see are these squares. There's sets of squares. They will start 1, 2, 3, or more. But they're square fortified structures. What they are, I don't know. They don't seem to have entryways. But you see structures over here. There was some kind of living quarters here, but they all look like they've been melted away, or something has been thrown on them. These also we find, I know that the majority of population in Pakistan is Muslim now, but they were not Muslim to begin with. These kind of look like the makeshift mosques that you find in almost every town in Pakistan, but you only need one for the area, 1 to 2. So these are like, I don't know, 20 of the structures. What would 20 mosques serve as a purpose? But you see also living quarters and some graves over here. So I don't know, most of these structures are found with graves. This could have been a graveyard, but these look way older than the graves that you see next to them. This reminds me of what you see in Saudi Arabia. There's a random wall on top of this terrane. It's kind of hard to make, I'm sure, because it's not a flat surface. It's a very crude terrain, but there is a wall going across for no visible purpose. You see a flow of water going here, and then you have this wall. Again, a wall with little nodes, circular nodes, like I don't know if they are towers or cairns, but they're nodes right here, and the flow of water, and a little nipple right here. And this is a bit clearer. You see the wall with the node, kind of like you see in the deserts of Arabia. More ruins. Now, these structures, because again, these are, you can see this is a dried riverbed, and a river at one point flowed through it. But you see these damming systems right here, but they're very complicated, and must be quite a lot of work went into making them. But you'll see as we progress that they are very complicated systems all over the place, like the ones over here. You can see structures inside the walls, and like living quarters, and other structures over here, living quarters. So was there water being pooled here, or was just farming taking place? These were very fortified walls for just farming, so I would think it was for damming up water. These are some of the living quarters, and then the nipple. What purposes served, I don't know. If this was again a living quarter as well, but you don't see any entryways, just a wall and a cairn inside. Again, if you look at this like little damming thing, it's not just a simple wall. It has a lot of stones around it. So just to make this would take a lot of time, just to pile that much stone, and you don't see any machinery. It looks like it's poured. That's the only machine that could have been used, but that would be a massive machine if it could pour rocks like that. And you see living quarters and odd structures here. Again, living quarters and nipples. These are also odd. Sometimes I think these are modern because they could be made by the blades of a tractor, but you don't see an entryway and you don't see any track marks. So it's open for debate. I don't know what these are, but they're interesting. You will find them a lot next to the nipple structures too. Here again is a complicated dam. I would say complicated because of the thickness of the wall, but you see it's just to contain this flow. That's a lot of structure for just a small stream of water. Again, these are washed away, but quite a series of dams. Again, then there are these structures, just like, there's no water going in them, but it's like a rectangular structure. More dams that have washed away, so they must be really, really old. More dam structures, as you can see. And you also see like these random living quarters. So if there's a flow of water, I don't know if somebody would make a living quarter there, but it's there. Water flowing over here, but you see like, I don't know if it's farmland or if it's dams. And quite a lot of work went into making that as well. And then you have these ruins again. I keep mentioning they look like they've melted away, and you find ruins like these in Saudi Arabia and Yemen and in Africa. How this happened, like they look like they've been torched from above, because they look like this melted rock. But then again, it would be best to observe it up close to see if it's still just a pile of rocks or melted rock. Same here, a whole lot of structures going on. Then you see like these little series of dams that are washed away because of the water, but again, effort was put into making these dams, and you can tell from the width that they required a lot of rock stone to create the structure. Over here you can see again those fortified squares that I talk about. And then living quarters. So these are not the same structures as this is super fortified, but these are just random. So what was the purpose of these? Why were these structures stronger than the ones you see over here, or are these much newer than these structures? I don't know. I'm just trying to make a case that there was a civilization that is not yet documented. And again, you see the same remnants here, very irregular shapes for the nipples, but they're there with living spaces. I'm going to do a close-up on the next screenshot. Like this is a visible mosque. You can see an entryway coming from this way and where the imam stands, and roads, paths leading up to the mosque. So these could be pre-Islamic era. But then if this is pre-Islamic, then what are these? Like why would they have these structures, which are, I don't know, Buddhist maybe, or pagan in origin? Then you see the same structure of wall, but the rock is darker, and then you have like a stone it's not quite a circle, but irregular circle, and then you have these formations. You can't tell if this is natural or man-made, but I would say it's man-made because it's a straight line, and it has an oddity right here. Again, the mosque, you have these entryways, and then the imam, where the imam stands, but then, why do you have all of these? Some of them are not even facing the Kaaba, so I don't know whom they belong to. Over here you see random structures like this again, the pile of stone. Can't tell if it's natural or man-made, but you see them clumping all over the place. What function they serve, I don't know. You have the nipples here and housing. Moving along, more nipples, and a very odd shape, like I don't know what that is. But it's there and it's fairly clear. Could be a modern thing, as you can see a lot of pathway, but I don't know what purpose that served. Again, a very crisp looking wall, but then ruins over here, like the walls have collapsed or they're just a pile of rocks. I can't tell. Moving along, more of these, and a structure over here. This could be a living space, but I'm not sure. Again, the nipples, like over here, and then the dams. And the dam is not a solid structure, like holding, like it's random. Like how can you contain water in something that, has broken walls? Or maybe it's washed away, I can't tell. There's another interesting anomaly I saw. I don't know if these are standing stones or they've fallen, but they make like this little dotted pattern. Like some are still standing, some may have fallen. You can tell by the tire marks that somebody knows that they're there and they haven't disturbed them, but somebody knows that they're there. Again, a wall, a random wall going from one hill to another, going over another hill. Maybe it was used as a dam, but why would you just not stop where the water flows and not go over the hill? So very odd why this was made. Now this structure is at the edge of the place that is maybe a hill, I don't know, but it's at the edge. And then you have structures over here that look like they've melted away. Very strange. Again, wall with some nodes in there. A random wall. I think this was once a circle. I don't know, because you see something over here. So maybe it connected like this. I don't know. But it's washed away. There's a wall here and a wall here. Again, water flow and this odd looking dam, because I would think they would stop right here, not have to make this, but they did. Perhaps they had too much time on their hands. Ruins. Ruins again, I keep saying they look like, they melted away. There's a close-up of this one. And you can see structures inside. Now, grave robbers, or I should say, robbers have gone and looked into this, or just that the structures are not disturbed yet. There's a pathway in the middle of this. Some oddities over here. Again, massive crude looking circle, and then these dotted lines. You see these dotted lines over here. Now what purpose would that serve if you're trying to contain water? Because this, I believe, is a hill. This may be shallow. There is a nipple inside and a line cutting across. Very odd. So some of these nipples, they're very precise. Like this one is very geometric. The very small cairn inside, and this is kind of crude. So I don't know somebody took the time to do this better than this. I can't tell why. There's like a line going over here, and then there's a circle with the cairn inside. It kind of reminds me of the geoglyphs you see in Saudi Arabia. It's not exactly like that, but then again you have the circle with the mound in the middle and then the wall. Okay, again, some ruins in the middle, some moss, and again you can see graves close by. Another odd structure, again water going through it, so they were trying to pool water here. Okay, these are different. Besides these shapes, the twin, twin forts I call them. Beside the twin forts or the series of forts, you also see these rectangular piles. Now, you would think that these would be roofs of houses, but houses this close, I don't know. You don't see an entryway. You just see a pile of stones that are smoother on top but have a rough edge. You see them over here. And they usually look like graves, but they're almost 30 feet across. So I don't think it's a grave unless it's a mass grave, because over here you see a car. That will give you an idea. That's a car right here in a little house. And then you have these. Again, you have the rectangles, the fortified little structures here, and a series of the square forts. And then you see faint nipples here, left and right. Something over here, I think graves, I can't tell. Again, the twin forts and those rectangular structures again, and you can see that there's still a modern living village over here. One nipple and some ruins, and cars gone over them. Same structure, fortress. Again, you see like some of them are 4, some of them are 2, some go more, but I think I've not seen more than 6. Now, ruins of this kind of looks like a Buddhist fortress, because the Buddhist, but I don't see a stupa. So usually there's a stupa and then like the little chambers that the monks sit in and meditate. It kind of looks like it, but I'm not sure if it is. Again, odd structure, and you see the same grave-looking structures, rectangular, and strewn all over the place, and they're all in one direction. So they could be graves, but you have to go observe them up close because they look very weird. And they also have this new anomaly, which is a twin fortified wall structure. And no entryway, just these walls. Okay, you can see a fort here. A fort like this can be found all the way to Western Africa. You can find forts like these in Africa and in Saudi Arabia. So this is in Pakistan. Maybe it belongs to the same civilization. We don't know. Some structure over here. You can evidently see farming here. And then there are these ruins, which do not belong to the anomalies I showed you earlier. But you can see structure here. So ruins of a civilization undocumented, and a little stupa thing going on. So maybe this was Buddhist. I don't know. Again, there's like a wall, but it looks like it's segmented, like it's not a full wall. It has like gaps in it. And there's another structure inside. You can't see it, but you see farmland right around here. An odd-looking fort. Other structures here. A cluster of nipples. There you go. And this, as I mentioned before, I think these are made by modern bulldozers with blades, but you don't see an exit, I don't know, and I don't see any tracks, so I don't know how these are made, but you can find them close to other nipple structures. Again, more odd structures. There's this rectangle here and some other structures strewn all over the place, making no sense. And this kind of structure too, that kind of looks like the nipple structure. You can tell over here lots of ruins, a lot going on. You have like ruins and living spaces. Same here. I don't know what these are. Again, the rectangular structures here, and circular structures, and living spaces, and collapsed structures. Some are fortified and some just look makeshift. More ruins, you can barely make out, but there are anomalies here. I don't know if these were living spaces or grave diggers. Same circle, but you see this little node here that kind of looks like when the blade stops after it's dragged all the stones, and that would make it. But again, I don't know how the tractor came out because there are no tractor marks going out of it. Yep, rectangular nipples, same cluster of unusual shapes and ruins. Then again, these. I find these interesting because they look like, I don't know, silos to put grain in, because they're very fortified, but they have no roofs left and no entryway visible. This one I'll do a close-up. You can see there's like a nipple in the middle. So I don't know if it served a purpose according to these, or these were serving a purpose according to the sacredness of this circle. We can never tell. Again, more of those fortified forts. Straight lines making dams and stuff. This is really odd because as far as structural integrity goes, I don't know what purpose this would serve. It's a very odd looking shape. So why would you take the trouble to make something like this? Then you could just make it simpler. So again, you have these, and with the blade marks, not sure if these are modern because you see tire track. But I think these are modern. Again, these walls are very fortified. Like I don't know the right word for it, but there's a lot of work that went into making these. Purpose unknown, but they almost look natural. But you can tell that they're not because this one is angular and this is irregular, but there's a lot of stone being used to make the structure. More of these. You can see structure in here, pretty random, but looks really old and collapsed and melted. Again, the squares, these are not moss, but the fortified fort with graves. More odd structures, this time rectangular. Again, on top of a hill, kind of like you see in Arabia. More ruins, cluster of ruins, perhaps an old town, old city. Same over here. You see the mosques or the graves right here with living spaces and farmland. Again, a very odd looking wall. And if the water is flowing here, I don't know why you would make this wall, but there are living spaces in here. More ruins. More ruins. A circle with no cairn inside. So again, these are very interesting wherever you find a stone circle. It's really, really old. It's almost 100 feet, 74 feet across, so pretty big. These, I believe they're ruins. I can't tell because the photograph or the screenshot is so terrible, but it looks like it has structures under here. Over here you can visibly see that this was farmland, I guess. But what I found interesting is that you see close-ups that they look like trees. Let me go back. But they're dotted lines, like a structure of dots, which look like trees, but I don't know if they're piles of stones or they're trees. It's very interesting. Again, you see all these little cairns, and then you have like these line structures and nipples. I don't know, these are living space, but whom did they belong to? An undocumented civilization. Right here, so you see like these, it's a very geometrical pattern. Almost looks like it's done by a machine. So are these piles of stones, or are they trees that are still growing in there? Ruins. Again, the structure with the stones. Nipples. More ruins. This could be different civilizations, because it's very interesting because you see some of these makeshift houses, and then you see these fortified structures. So this looks like a bit more advanced civilization than this, but you can never tell. More ruins, this time a whole lot of them. You see farmland, but there's also these melted ruins and other oddities close to them. Same over here. You can see that there's a modern village right here, but these are fairly old and larger structures. Again, farmland, I guess, because you see the stone structures inside, or again, if they are trees. But it's a whole lot of area. There's something very interesting here too. I don't know what that is. More ruins on top of hills, but they look like they've been burned. There's a structure here with pillars. More burnt out ruins with tire tracks. A whole lot of series of dams. So that's a lot of work just to dam it up, but somebody had the time. This is very interesting. This is a massive area and very unusual wall system. Like there you can see like four layers that kind of like, spread out as they move out. So why was this done? I don't know. Again, more of these circles. There's a rectangle with a circle in the middle. And these almost look like Nazca lines, but I think these might be modern. I don't know. Again, ruins that look melted. That circle again. So that's why I say that these could be modern, because you see a lot of blade work right here. But then there's a nipple. And then you see this. Most of these can be found next to nipples. A very odd shape wall, but very strong looking wall in the middle of nowhere. Again, more damming. That fort. More walls, and you will see like from the shadow of these, I'll show you another picture, that these are pretty sharp walls. They're not like just a pile of stones. They at one point were pretty tall and pretty precise. You can see it from the shadows right here, pretty sharp. Again, more ruins buried under here. You can barely see, but there's a road going on, so I'm sure somebody must have stumbled onto something. An odd circle. Graves with a dam, I guess, a cluster of rock, I don't know. Odd shapes, odd shaped dam, a whole lot of ruins with a dam. Who did that? How it looks like, again, either that it's come out of the earth or that it's been burned from above. All of these. Right here, as I was saying, these walls cast a very sharp shadow. They're almost razor sharp, so they need to be observed up close. if they're not done by machinery. That's quite a lot of work. There's another one I found which is almost 4,000 feet across. You see it clearly right here, but it's kind of washed away. There's a wall that they made, 4,000 feet across. Odd-shaped dam, more structures. I found these interesting, but I don't know if they're modern. They kind of look like flutes, like the geoglyphs in Saudi Arabia. There's the structure. You can see the wall has collapsed, but inside it's a little bit more sharper. So the walls usually fall outwards. How? I don't know why. Same structures over here, but other oddities. I think I need to get going. You see a fort here. More stuff here. Sorry, I'm going to rush because I'm sure I'm running out of time. I just wanted to share these slides with you guys. So you see a canot here and a structure. So don't know if this civilization did this or this is much older. You see over here like the tire tracks and other shapes like an R and an S. So maybe these are modern. Then I found this. This kind of reminds me of Coral City. They have like this circular, I don't know, enclosure. Definitely needs to be looked up close. More ruins in here. They almost blend into nature. Then a fort structure with other structures inside. Ruins, more melted ruins, and graves. These could be modern, but these definitely are very old. More odd structures. Ruins. Yep. So this was interesting because there is a dotted circle, two dotted circles with the H inside. So of course these are for helicopters. Why you need two pads, I don't know. But then you have these structures and living spaces with two helicopter pads. Go figure. Again, series of nipples. Yep. Found usually in the middle of nowhere. Like this fort is weird. But it doesn't look like it's anybody has discovered it yet. More ruins and nipples and a pathway. Again, this is an observation I made similar to the structures in Saudi Arabia, that there's a wall that connects the top of one hill to the other. You see the wall right here. This is a broken wall, but again, the function looks similar with, the nipples, odd structures, blade marks, modern and old activity, more ruins over here, Yep, cluster, a little wall in the middle of nowhere, like at the edge of this hill, a fort, and then you had a circle here which has a modern mosque inside with 3 entryways and graves, but there's a circle, so why would you make a, mosque inside? I don't know, could be older. More ruins. There you go. So you see the nipples and then this structure, can't tell if it's modern. Again, walls over here, I don't know. These are natural. More dams. This is clearly illustrated that they are trying to dam the water, but the walls are broken. But again, that's a lot of gathering of stone. This long structure with a nipple. It's 838 feet. Series of nipples. Again, these walls are very strange. Like, why would you not just dam the water here? Like, you have all of this going on and this going on. There's something over here. Maybe too much time on their hands. Odd looking ruins, double walled ruins. Again, the cluster of forts, ruins and forts. Then I came across these, which is also very interesting. These are very unusual, but they're these dotted little they're not graveside, they're at least 11 feet across. So I don't know, these are graves, but they're next to flowing water, so I would think these are living spaces. But obviously you can tell that they're very old and all over the place. Don't look like anybody knows that they're there. I don't see any modern tire marks, but I'll take that back because I see some tire marks here, so maybe somebody knows. Very interesting. Yep. and you can see some at the edge of the river. And then again, you see the blade marks. So again, modernity is aware of these, but they don't seem to be documented. There are no references made to them yet, to which civilization they belonged. There are a lot of them. Some blend into nature. There's a rectangular shape on top of this hill with a little mound right here. And then you have these circles. Now I can't quite tell if these are modern because some of these circles have letters inside of them. Or maybe archaeology discovered them and then marked them with letters. But you can see this one goes over the hill, and they've cleared the hill now. They have housing over here. But this circle is here, and there are multiple of them. You see one over here. And this is almost 268 feet across. And they go over the hill. Most of them go over the hill. So what's the purpose of having a giant circle that goes over the hill? This one is interesting because there's a hill here, but it comes out, goes around, and comes in, but doesn't complete. Again, another circle on the hill. A circle around the hill. A kanat with this irregular wall. It's very faint, but it's there. You see it's broken up, but there's a wall right here, or there was a wall right there. A circle, living spaces. These odd-looking walls at the edge, they're very well defined, but I don't know what they're guarding because, you know, they end right here, so I don't know. You see some kind of living space here, but it's walled from what? You know, this wall. Now, it's interesting. Why would you make this wall and it would fall off the edge unless what you're saying is that this wall is older than the erosion around it? Because this was once connected, but it fell away. So how old is this wall? Anyway, so these were all the ones that I had to share. I'm sorry it was a long video. I would love to discuss this with people who know. But I think this is a civilization that is yet not documented in Balochistan, Pakistan. And it's interesting because everybody looks at the Sphinx of Balochistan, which is to me a sand formation, but everybody ignores all of this. There's way too much evidence for this than for the Sphinx, but you know, to each their own. I hope you enjoyed this. Cheers.